Alright, so this is the continuation follow-up video for the Funko Pop and Tekken modeling. This here is where I had left off before, where the model, it's kind of coming along. The mesh is a bit dirty, whereas here, this is after I had cleaned it up a bit, or a lot, and cleaned up the topology, the edge flow, and made it much more cleaner. See? Yeah. Some cleanup over here required. But yeah, so as you can see, it's pretty darn clean. A couple of triangles here, 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 and a couple of triangles here. It causes some pinching, some wobbliness right here. See, there's some pinching going on, all because of a stupid triangle. Over here, I beefed up the back area because it just didn't look right. It looked lopsided and just missing meat that should be here to help hold the neckline in place. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna put this over here just as a reference. And I also want to mention that the camera, if I click on this, go to the attribute editor, I set the focal length to 90 for the perspective. Like I said, clicking on that icon, focal length to 90, that way it prevents distortion, especially when the viewport is truncated or smaller. It can cause perspective warping, kind of like a camera, the fisheye lens bit, but with the camera having its focal length set to 90, it makes it look, straighter. It makes it look more normal without the lens distortion. Yeah, it's kind of like an orthographic view, kind of, sort of. Anyway, so I'm gonna move this out of the way, like that, and then this one, like that. So this one too, I think I'm gonna, let me check, did I set that up? No, it's 35. So this is the one that I'm gonna be working on, right? This is the good one. This is the one we're gonna be working on. Select the camera, focal length, attribute editor, set it to 90 degrees, or 90, not degrees, but just 90. All right. Okay. I'm gonna just make this bigger. All right. One of the other things I want to do is a special little workflow. Right. Not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of tutorials about this, so I don't know, I'm kind of flexing that, kind of like bragging rights in a way. But what you do is basically, so I have your typical 4-panel view, right? What I'm going to do is just grab this, do that, this view, top view, and go to panel, perspective, new. Actually, no, wait, no. Panel, perspective, yeah. Panel, perspective. So I undid what I just did previously, right? And I'm gonna go panel, perspective. So it's the same one, right? It's the same camera. show the grid as well. Basically this allowed to show the level 3 subdivision proxy, but without having to go back and forth between level 1 and level 3, level 1, level 3, and it's good. But you would need a okay graphics card, probably like late model graphics card from Nvidia, like a GTX 1060. Right, the GTX 1060, that was GTX 1060. Wait, no. GTX 1060. So this was long time ago, many years ago. But if you have at least a GTX 1060, it'll handle it, along with a probably a 6-core processor computer chip, which is pretty standard these days. Otherwise, if you have a shitty computer, it might give you problems. So I'm just mentioning that ahead of time. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is show my outliner. Alright, so if I remember correctly, I'm gonna select the mesh, and then I'm gonna go to mesh, alright, so mesh, where the frick did you go? Where's my proxy? Right here. So I select the mesh, right? I go mesh smooth proxy, okay? Smooth proxy, subdivision proxy, option box, okay? Mesh smooth proxy, subdivision proxy, option box. Here this is. Alright, the mirror behavior was full, and then subdivision proxy shader, I'm gonna set it to keep. I think this is what I had. Right. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna hit apply. Right, no. Undo. Okay. No, it's supposed to be right on top of it. None. Okay, none. And then hit apply. Alright. So basically it's none. Mirror behavior none. Subdivision proxy shader keep. I'm gonna close it. Okay. Crack this open. And then this one, right, in here, we'll do control 1. Okay. Control 1 for isolate select. I'm gonna press 3. Okay. I'm gonna name this, right, proxy Funko Pop head. Right, so proxy Funko Pop head. Okay. And then I'm gonna select it, right, the proxy in this window. I'm gonna get out of the isolate mode, which is Control 1 to get out of it. Now on top of it is this mesh, the Funko Pop. If I do Alt 5, you can see that. Basically what I want to do is I only want to show my subdivision proxy, the proxy one. So what I'm going to do is go under panels. Okay, I do control 1 to show only that. Here I'm going to select the regular Funko Pop. I'm going to actually name this low poly Funko Pop head. And here I'm going to do control 1. Yeah. So now this one will be the subdivision proxy. Right. And this one is going to be the low poly mesh state, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, basically I can see it update in real time, both of it, the low poly state and then also the high poly in progress. So that's a workflow that I used to do like that. Okay, one other major thing is this one here, or two major things. Like when I work on this, let's say for example here, right? So one of the rules is that I do the modifications on the low poly. I never ever do modifications on the high poly, because that will cause the modeling to glitch, and it won't respond. It just turns into a real shit show, and it can crash the system. The other thing too is I don't like seeing the handles in my smooth proxy right now. It's just freaking annoying. I want to see without anything causing a distraction. So in here, I'm going to go to show viewport, and manipulators. I'm going to uncheck it. That way I don't see it. Alright, then I'm going to crack open the channel box. Make sure to see my display. Right, if you don't, it's like that. I'm going to grab this, right, which is the low poly, the proxy. Right. And then with it selected, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click on the icon. See? And then I'm going to double click it. I'm going to name it underscore proxy mesh. Hit save. Then I'm going to set it to reference, so I don't accidentally grab it and manipulate it. Yeah. I press 3 for it. I can select it from here, outliner, and then press either 1 or 3. I'm going to leave it at 3. Okay, 1 second. Alright, so I paused the video for a moment because I needed to double check something. I'm going to grab the proxy, and then in the channel box for the proxy mesh, you see how there's a lot of lines. So when I did a smooth proxy setup, it just made it more dense. So I want to go in there, proxy poly smooth proxy 1, type in 0, so it's what we're more familiar with. If I press 1, that's what that is, right? If I select and press 3, there's your smooth proxy that we're all familiar with. Okay, Anyway, so make sure to do that. You select the proxy, channel box, exponential level, continuity, blah blah blah. Just set to 0. Just makes the mesh less dense, more accurate to what we were previously accustomed to, pressing 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Also make sure this is set to reference. Super important, because you do not want to, you can easily get confused as to what is what and then just break the system. So I'm gonna name this video 18. Then I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, close that. Alright, now we're ready to rock. Maybe I'll close that too. Maximize my space. See? Super neato. I could have wireframe unshaded here, and here I don't need to. Again, a lot of this is also driven because of the isolate mode, right? So I show only what I want to show. And like I said, this is the same camera. So that's why, like I said, it's kind of like bragging rights for me. My small little claim to fame. Because there's not a whole lot of tutorials. It's like a poor man's generic, I don't know, generic ZBrush. But not really. ZBrush is 1,000 times more powerful for sculpting and stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna just start flowing with it, modeling, and okay, I'm gonna clean up this area. So let me get rid of the grid, hide the grid. I'm gonna hide the grid as well. So as you can see here, right, I have the hairline pushing out, and then you can see it here as well, right? But I need to continue it because it kind of stops over here. See? Stops right there. So the way I do that is shift right click multi-cut, go to the option box for it. I typically want to set to 1. Oh, before I go further, there are times where, especially when you're working underneath, see how it's behaving normal? It acknowledges and highlights the underside edges and even side like this. There's a glitch where you may or may not notice that it won't select the underside, and it'll try to select something else, and what that something else is on the top side, right? And it's infuriating. It would piss you off, right? So I'm just mentioning that ahead of time, the reason why it does that, and also how to fix it, right? To make the multi-cut tool work normally, because it's such a bread and butter tool, right? To make it work normally, you have to go under Windows, Settings and Preferences, Windows, Settings and Preferences. When you're in here, go to Display. You have to make sure and double check Display, Viewport 2.0. By default, I believe it's set to OpenGL, one of these, probably compatibility or strict, I don't know. You're going to want to set to basically DirectX 11. Set it to DirectX 11 and hit save. And that should fix it. I'm not going to bother explaining about DirectX 11 and about the Viewport 2.0. Basically, it's just going to be technical and mumbo jumbo I'm going to be spewing. So just do that and it should work. If that doesn't work, you have to most likely update the graphics card. And if that doesn't work, you have to go back in and reset the entire thing, meaning Windows, Works, Preferences, and then go back, restore default settings, and then hit save, and then go back in again, and then do another hit of changing this to DirectX 11. Because when you do reset, this will go back to OpenGL. So those are your options. First one is change it to DirectX 11, hit save, but you have to close Maya and restart. I repeat, you have to close Maya and restart, because it won't take effect until you restart Maya. You have to do that. And then if that doesn't work, which it should work, but I had an incident where about a couple hours later it started glitching again. I don't know why. You go back in and you just freaking reset this thing, and then do this process all over again, and then hit save, and it should be okay. I think I also went in there in Windows Workspace and did a reset general to factory default. I think I did that as well, and it just started working again. So I'm just saying, whoever's watching this know ahead of time, whether it be my student or new people, just be aware of that, because it will happen and it will piss you off. Alright, so since I got that information out of the way, alright, here, shift right click, multi-cut, option box, set the snap step to 1. Basically, it's not gonna start snapping, it's not gonna start snapping from big chunks away from the other edge. It's gonna make it get as close as possible, and then do its annoying thing about snapping. Anyway, I'm gonna draw the ear hairline. Right now it's kind of abruptly stopped. Like I said before, you have to think of yourself as an ant crawling along the surface, right? Right now, as you can see from this angle of the camera, you notice that it abruptly stops. See? So what I'm gonna do is I need to push this out, but I'm gonna click and snap, press W. See how it updated here? See? Before. Fuck. The hell?